Greetings, comrades! Today me and you are going into the depths of the internet once again, namely its Russian segment. Although the hero of today's video is not some unknown random guy, after all, his YouTube channel is about 50 times more popular than mine, and memes with him have spread far beyond the Russian-speaking section of the internet. This is a story of a man who somehow managed to turn people who made fun of him into his most loyal fans. You might actually have even seen some videos from this guy. How he dances, laughs, imitates animals, argues with his twin brother, or wonders what you were doing in his fridge. Today I will tell you the story of Gennady Gorin from the city of Oryol, a man with a very complicated fate who at the age of 45 found his place on YouTube.
Всем привет! Спасибо, что вы смотрите мои видео. Меня зовут Геннадий Горин.
But first, let's get serious for a moment. Unfortunately, Gennady's story is not one of those cute little stories where older people come to YouTube and everyone there loves them. Far from it. You see, Gennady is probably not entirely healthy, mentally. He never confirmed it officially, and I definitely do not want to make any assumptions here, but really, I still don't feel comfortable making money off someone who may not be entirely healthy. So yeah, just so you know, I am planning to donate all the ad money I get from this video to a charity that helps people with various mental disorders. I know it isn't much, but it is mostly for my own peace of mind. With that out of the way, let's move on to the actual story of Gennady. How did a simple 40-year-old guy from some provincial city become one of the biggest and well-liked YouTubers in Russia? Gennady Gorin was born in December 1972 in the city of Oryol, which is 400 kilometers south of Moscow, in an ordinary Soviet family. Since childhood, Gennady had some problems with his speech. He had a lisp and a stutter. However, by and large, this did not prevent him from leading an ordinary life. He graduated from school, went to work at a construction site and then as a loader in a store. And in 2001, he married a woman named Olga. Their marriage did not last long, but Gennady still remembers these times with fondness. Unfortunately, in 2007, 6 years after the wedding, Olga left him for some reason, and since then he has been living with his mother. This breakup was almost the key event in the whole life of Gennady, but we'll talk about that later. Almost immediately after the breakup, he became interested in YouTube. By his own admission, he has been making various videos for about 15 years. But he only created his own channel in 2015. In an interview with Russian YouTuber Kuzma, Gorin said that he always dreamed of being recognized on the streets. He wanted to become popular one day. Did he succeed? Oh yes, but not in the way Gennady would have liked at first. He made all kind of sketch comedy videos, shouted at the camera, filmed apartment tours, or told some stories about his daily life. Basically an average vlogger. It was his weirder videos that made him popular. The first was the video where he looks into the fridge and asks us what we are doing there.
А я не понял, что вы делаете в моем холодильнике? Вы хотите кушать?
The second is the video where he begs the mysterious upstairs neighbors to stop moving the stools.
Не двигайся тупорезками, прошу я вас!
And if the first video can be described as a kind of an abstract humor, the second video is frankly frightening. Nevertheless, these two videos paved the way for his popularity. In 2017, numerous memes with Gennady Gorin began to appear in the biggest Russian social network VKontakte, and he became an idol for tens of thousands of people. And it would seem that this story is not so surprising. Well, yes, some strange dude became the hero of a couple of memes live brightly and die quickly. But Gennady's story is atypical, precisely because once he got his share of publicity, he managed to make good use of it and build on it. Gennady, after his sudden fame, did not change his content in the slightest, and stubbornly did what he liked. Basically, he just describes his life, what's going on around him from the perspective of a simple middle-aged Russian man. Well, maybe not quite ordinary man, I must admit. In some videos he dances, in some he walks the streets and talks to people about different things, shows us animals he meets, food he eats, or flowers he grows. Sometimes he writes music, sometimes he makes 3D models, sometimes he tries his hand at acting. Back in 2015 he had as many as 5 short films released. For example, in the 3-minute film The Fall in the Hollow, the man played Hitler, a fascist and an anti-fascist. Gennady's favorite genre is collabs. However, he is quite selective in who he does them with. Only one person turned out to be worthy of it: his evil twin brother Geshka Gorin. Gennady goes to visit him, shares stories with him, or eats scones with him. I don't know if you've noticed, but in fact Geshka Gorin is also Gennady, just with glasses. Sometimes. Shocking, I know.
Здравствуйте! Здравствуйте, кто смотрит нас! Нас зовут Геннадий Горин, это меня зовут, а моего брата-близнеца зовут Гешка. Гешка Горин. Мой Гешка, привет!
This whole package sounds like quite peculiar content, but Gennady has 2 million subscribers on YouTube. And if in 2017 he was perceived as a funny weirdo who yelled at the camera, then in 2022, seriously, you know how toxic the comment section on YouTube can be. And in the Russian segment, multiply that by 10. But in spite of this, the comments under Gennady Gorin's videos are maybe the most wholesome place on the internet. People watch his content, support him, and thank him for every single video. Gennady loves his followers, and they love him back, really.
Спасибо большое. Вам тоже удачи.
Пожалуйста.
But let's rewind the clock and go back to Gennady's darker side. To that very video with the stools. All of this doesn't really fit into the picture I just described. The picture of a strange but kind vlogger who is adored by his audience. In that video, Gennady not only begs his neighbors to stop moving the stools, but he insults them throughout the whole video and even threatens to kill them if they don't stop.
Ах ты, сука!
Which is quite disturbing. Gennady himself actually describes his alleged illness as follows. As a child, Gorin's neighbors were constantly moving stools upstairs. The boy was very afraid of the noise, and that's why he began stuttering. Because of that, he was forced to study at a special school for kids with speech problems, and because of these same problems, he was not able to go to college. However, this did not really stop him from living a fairly normal life, and even getting married. Many believe that it was the failure of his family life that affected Gennady's sanity really badly. In his old blog posts, Gennady often wrote about his ex-wife and troubles in their marriage, and blamed her for many of his problems. One of the most popular theories among fans is that it was the breakup with his wife that made Gennady gray-haired at a pretty young age and caused some kind of a mental trauma. Other fans believe that Gennady had a stroke, which could explain his speech problems. There is also a theory with some kind of a road accident that Gennady got into. Finally, many blame some form of schizophrenia, slight intellectual disability, or even Huntington's disease. As I said, Gennady himself denies having any of these conditions. In the end, Gennady Gorin is quite an interesting character. So contradictory that I'm still not sure if it was right for me to make this video. On the one hand, it's easy to classify him as one of the many internet freaks and to accuse his fans of making fun of an obviously mentally ill person. And perhaps a few years ago that would have been entirely true. The video with the stools is not the only footage where Gennady acts disturbingly. There are plenty of both videos and text messages on the internet which I cannot quote here for moral and ethical reasons that show Gennady not in the best light. They show him as a damaged man, who perhaps should only be pitied. On the other hand, I don't quite know how to describe it myself. There is something about him. Gennady clearly enjoys making videos. He is always very open, sincere, and in some ways very sweet. There is something inexplicably wholesome about him and his success. Judge for yourself. A man with a very complicated fate who suffers from health problems, lives with his elderly mother and dreams of becoming popular. How much of a chance does he have? How many people in that position could boast that they were able to develop their YouTube channel to a level where it would bring them an adequate income and provide a decent life for their family? Besides, like I said, Gennady obviously enjoys it. Perhaps creating videos even have some therapeutic effect. Many viewers have noted that his diction has improved over the years. So I guess we can only be happy for Gennady and wish him further success in his creative endeavors.